I be lifted up from the earth, will draw all men unto me. So lift him up. Still he speaks from eternity. And if I be lifted up from the earth, will draw all men unto me. Now, y'all know by now I love the hymns, and that's one of my favorite. Lift him up. Yes, God. The church got to lift him up. But Jesus said, if I be lifted up from the earth, I'll draw all men. He said, I'll do the drawing. I don't need you to draw. I just need you to lift. If you can just praise me, if you can lift me up, if you can let your light so shine before men, I'll do the drawing. Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome back tonight. Glad to see you. Glad to have you with us so much. Appreciate you. Many lives, but thank you for joining us for these 15 minutes. And they go by fast, so like, comment, and share. That's what we need you to do. Like, comment, and share. Let's not forget our memory verse for this week. We're in the midst of it. Is John chapter 3, verse 17. That's our memory verse for this week. You got it this past Sunday, but just reiterating, it's John chapter 3, verse 17. And our April affirmation. Now, you already have it. We're reiterating it. You've heard it first, second Sunday. Go hear it again on third Sunday. And that is, my needs are abundantly met. Woo! Yes, sir. My needs are abundantly met. Now, everybody needs different. But whatever your needs are, God's going to meet them abundantly, in abundance. Amen. Tonight, don't forget, we are on Zoom. Our church, this 7 to 7:15 here on Facebook and YouTube. But we're going to Zoom, led by Elder Bergsteiner, as we're talking about the fundamentals of Christian doctrine. Of course, this week, I think we're talking about the Bible. So, we talked about, described it before in the breakdown, but now this is a whole different aspect of it, and you don't want to miss. And if you desire to be a part, put it in the comments, and we'll send you the Zoom link right there in the comments so that you can join us. Matter of fact, just post it, and anybody want to join us at 7:30, 8:30, for our more in-depth Bible study, come on with us on Zoom on tonight. Thank you so much. Listen, as we move to, don't forget, tonight, we're in this month, we've been talking about our whole April teaching on this Zoom, well, not on this Zoom yet, I'm talking about Zoom, on Facebook and on YouTube. It's about what's next. We've been talking about what's next. And we gave the first two steps already. The first step outlined in Mark chapter 16, verse 7. The first step was knowing and operating in the teachings of Jesus. You got to know his teachings to actually operate in the teachings. So knowing and operating in the teachings of Jesus for Mark chapter 16, verse 7. Step 2 was have a personal experience. Now, of course, if you want to add have a personal experience with Jesus, of course, we Christians, we're talking about Jesus, but just in case you need that, that's why I have a personal experience. That's Mark chapter 16, verse 14. But tonight, step 3, stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. The lesson tonight is going to be found in John chapter 20, verses 15 through 23. Now, remember, we're talking about what happened after the crucifixion. What's next for the church? After Jesus then got up, what's next? Well, we got to know and operate in the teachings of Jesus. What's next? We got to have personal experiences with Jesus. But then step 3 is simply staying in your lane. Stay in your lane. This, I drive, and one of the things I like swerving so I can get fast and jumping in front. But there are certain times you got to stay in your lane. When we look at the text tonight, we see in John chapter 20, verse 15 through 19, Jesus was talking to his disciples, and then he started talking directly to Peter. And he asked Peter, do you love me? And, of course, Peter was like, yeah, Jesus, I love you. I love you. And then after that, he came back a second time. He asked Peter again, Peter, do you love me? And Peter's like, Jesus, I got you. I messed up before, and, I denied you 3 times, but I'm back now. I got my head on right. I'm not going to make that mistake again. Whatever you assign me to do, I'm good. So then Jesus come back the 3rd time. It's like, Peter, do you love me? Do you love me? Lovest thou me? And Peter began to get upset with Jesus because he's like, now I done answered this twice. Now here you come back a 3rd time asking me the same question. Now you got to understand, when God consistently asks you the same thing, that's because he's setting you up for a deeper revelation. I'll say it again. When God asks you the same thing over and over, it's because he's setting you up for a deeper revelation. And so after he says, asks him the 3rd time, and Peter answers out of frustration, and he's like, okay, you keep putting me on the spot. You got me in front of these other 10, and you got me on the spot. You ain't asking nobody else, do they love you? But you want to ask me if I love you. And that's a lot of times we feel on the spot because we're being asked something over and over again, and we feel like that we are being ostracized. We feel like that you're using this time to abuse me publicly and to get over on me and to check me and to handle me. And it wasn't a check and it wasn't a handle, it was a setup. And so many times we're going to have to learn how to put our frustrations of the question on the side and try to hear what is the deeper message that Jesus is trying to get through. And so he's asking him for the 3rd time, and Peter's like, Jesus, I love you. He answers out of anger. But watch this. His anger to Jesus' questions don't frustrate Jesus. See, those of us who are in leadership, we can't get frustrated that there are people we are trying to bring out, get them to the next level, that they get frustrated. Because Jesus ain't never got frustrated. Jesus was on assignment. His assignment was to move Peter mentally and emotionally to the front of the line. And he couldn't do that unless he was assured that Peter understood his positioning in God. Because the denial had messed Peter's head up. And Peter was just getting back because everybody knew he done denied him. And so the other 10 were still looking at him kind of funny. But Jesus was saying, don't worry about that, Pete. Just answer the question. And so Peter, feeling like Jesus is trying to handle him, says, of course I love you. And Jesus dropped the bomb. Feed my sheep. What the other 10 missed was Peter, in all his faults and failures, got the greatest assignment. After he done got up, the one who's going to deliver the first message to the people is Peter. The women delivered the message to the disciples. Peter been called to deliver the message to the Jews, the ones who, who worked along with crucifying him. And Peter was going to be the one that God was going to use. And him, with all his faults and failures and cussing habits, he still was selected. That's why we can't get frustrated at the frustrated, because God still want to use them, but it's going to be after they come out of their frustration. And so after he gets the assignment and Jesus tells him to feed his sheep, Peter's still in the flesh. How you know he in the flesh? Because right here in verse number 20, Peter, turning about, John chapter 20, verse 20, seeth the disciple whom Jesus loved following. Talking about John. Peter saw John, which also leaned on his breast at supper. He was like, Peter was jealous of the closeness of Jesus and John instead of understanding his assignment. So sometimes we want to be close instead of assigned. Oh, God have mercy. You need to catch the assignment and stop trying to be close. whatever's going on with John and Jesus has nothing to do with Jesus and Peter. And so many times we too busy looking at who close to somebody instead of understanding they may be close, but they didn't get the assignment. If you got the assignment, that means that you're trusted, that you're considered a valuable person. Stop worrying about who leaning on his breast and who hanging out and who going out to eat. What have you been assigned to do? Peter was still in his flesh, even after Jesus told him that. He was in his flesh. And Peter, seeing him, said to Jesus, he saw John, he said to Jesus, he said, Lord, and what shall this man do? Now, instead of worrying about and preparing himself for his assignment, feeding the sheep, he worried about, well, what John going to do? Ain't none of your business. Stay in your lane. Let me tell you how Jesus answered. I want to give you what Jesus' reply was. Jesus said, in verse 21, verse 22, John 20:22, if I will that he tarry till I come, what is that to you? Follow you me. Well, Jesus was saying, if I keep him alive from this day to the day I come back, what that got to do with you? Ain't none of your business. Whatever I'm doing with John is between me and John. I done gave you your assignment and you tripping on John. Get your eyes off of people and understand your assignment. So here's the word of the day from the bishop. Get yourself up and get back to your assignment. Stop being mad about this and that and be mature and get rid of the MAD and come on to the MAT. Come on and be mature and get back to your assignment. The assignment don't have to be that you thought Peter was like, Peter wasn't even excited about feeding the sheep because he was too busy watching John. Know your assignment. Be excited about it. Get back to work. Get back in ministry. Because let me tell you, if Peter would have blew this, he never would have preached in Acts chapter 1. Should I say Acts chapter 1, 2. After the Holy Spirit fell, he preached in Acts chapter 2. He never would have preached. Because you know why? He'd have been too caught up on John. What are you missing because you caught up on John? How many blessings you missing because you caught up on John? How many miracles you missing because you caught up on John? Because it ain't going the way you think. Peter had to get his eyes off of John and put his eyes on his assignment. What is it that you've been assigned to do? It ain't about what you like. It's about what you've been assigned to do. You don't know how many doors that one assignment go on. Listen, I started off as the armor bearer to the district overseer. I was picking up his Bible. I was handing him a towel and made my way from the armor bearer of the district overseer to auxiliary bishop to the council of bishops, all because I learned how to keep my eyes on the assignment. Don't blow it looking at other people. Whatever John got to do, John had to write it and Peter had to preach it. You're going to get that in a second. John had to write it, but Peter had to preach it. Stick to your assignment and watch God. And guess what? Both John and Peter made the book. Both John and Peter played valuable roles. It's just they played valuable roles at different times. Work your assignment. You know, if I was an R&B singer, you know what I would do here? I'd drop the mic. Stay in your lane. Good night.